Welcome to the CEN show, a platform where we learn from the world community. I'm your host, Ratsaki Maskani, and on the panel this evening, we got Brother Doctor. Brother Doctor is here today. Brother Machinda, Brother Ahi, Ernest McBride Jr., Professor Amin Ra, and we have an anonymous person here. Don't wish to be mentioned. But it's all good. We want anybody and everybody to come and hang out with us. This evening, we have a young lady back east, and Brother Muko is coming in, everybody. And she's a very courageous young lady, and I can't wait to hear what she's going to talk about. The topic is the courts and racism, and we already know we have plenty of racism going on. The system is based off of that. But I'm not going to talk. I'm going to let our guest, Lyreshia Speaks, come on and tell us about herself and this topic this evening. Welcome, Lyreshia. Thanks for coming. And
thank you so much.
And let's hear what you got to say there, young lady.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you for allowing me to tell my story on your platform. My name is Lyreshia Speaks. I am a nationally recognized motivational speaker and author. I'm an abolitionist and a social justice advocate. I come this way by accident and on purpose. I believe me being illegally fired and suffering at the hands of injustice pushed me into my purpose. When I don't want to make it seem like I'm special because I am special, but when what's done to me was done to a lot of people, especially Black people in law enforcement, I did the unthinkable. I decided to fight back, but in a very strategic and out of the box way. I decided to fight against the courts. And so my story starts from there. It's a very detailed story. It's a long, drawn out process. But at the end of the day, I refuse to be silent about what happened to me.
Majay?
So, do you want to tell us about your previous, your credentials that you have, and basically about the story of how you're litigating against the judicial system?
Yes, so it starts first of all for me being a product of the government. Understanding in the 80s, my mother being on welfare and me being in a single parent household, me growing up in the ghetto, understanding those systems of being told all you have to do to get to the American dream is go to school and get an education. That's what constantly was told. People would come to my school and say it. It'll be just go to school and get an education. And me seeing my mother having kids and a high school education, okay, I didn't want that. I wanted the opposite. So I did just that and went to school, got a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. I have a master's in political science and public affairs. I was a social worker for 7 years, which includes working in residential treatment, case management for adolescents with behavioral health and mental health issues. I worked as an investigator for law guarding before I became a probation officer for 9 years. So I have an extensive background in mental health, behavioral health, and in law enforcement. And I thought those things would be me helping essentially my people. They tell you all the time, especially in law enforcement, if the system is broken, like that's their theme. They let you know up front the system is broken. And if you want to change it, you have to join it and be the change from within. So me being a Capricorn, and my birthday is the day before Dr. King's, you telling me this, I'm receiving the message. So I'm saying, okay, I can make a difference. He made a difference. I can make a difference. And when I got into the position, you're a Black woman. What are you doing? Who do you think you are to change this system? We don't need you to. The messages I received clearly by their actions. Who do you think you are thinking we need you to change the system? The system is designed, it's not broken, it's designed this way. And we are going to continue to do you how we've done everybody in the past, and you're just going to take it. So it was the illusion that I had thinking that I could make a difference, thinking that I would be the change from within. Again, I got the education. That's what you said I had to get. I got the husband. That's what you said I had to get. I got the house. That's what you said I had to get. I did everything I was supposed to do to get this American dream, but it didn't matter because I was a Black woman in racist New Jersey, and they were going to let me know every chance they get they didn't want the system changed. My idea of me changing their corruption, and it started with microaggressions in the workplace. This is a Black woman being told everything is not good enough. You know, somebody's mic, being told everything you do is not good enough. Um, everything is it's everything they wouldn't train you to do they wouldn't train me to do my job as a probation officer. It's three departments in the state of New Jersey. Everyone knows about supervision. You're convicted of a crime, you have to report to the probation officer, you have to let them know if you're working, you got to stay out of trouble, you got to pay your fees. That's the supervision piece. Then in Jersey, you also have a family court piece. Child support is a court order, which is enforced by the probation department. So then, and if you don't show up or you don't pay, probation officer issues the warrant or tell you to come back to court. Probation in Jersey runs that. Also, the civil division is for the juveniles. You have a juvenile, they deal with that. I worked in the criminal case management, and I worked directly with the judges. I wrote this pre-sentence report for individuals being sentenced to either probation or a term of incarceration or a fine. And in the state of New Jersey, a report is done who you are as a person besides the charges, and we conducted the investigation. So when you get sentenced, the judge will know your background history, if you have a criminal record, what happened in these charges, and I was responsible for conducting that investigation. And the first problem was the fact that I thought that I could change the system, that they needed me. That's the illusion that they give you. No, they want you to come here, and as a Black person in law enforcement, they want you to support white supremacy. And I was not willing to support it at all, and that's why I was fired. And that's where the problem started. Who am I as a Black woman to hold them accountable to their rules and expectations? Because I would point out, like, you can't do this. This is against the rules. What rules? As you see now with the current administration, they don't care about no laws or no rules that they have to abide by. And it goes back into, and after everything that's happened to me, again, I went to school. So in the academic, they tell you about theories and science. How do you prove the hypotheses? You create a theory, then you have these hypotheses with the evidence to prove that theory. Well, as a person with public administrations, political science, and public affairs, my theory is that, wait a minute, this was a setup to fail from the beginning. The judicial branch of government whole entire purpose is to target Black people. And I've been trying to work out that theory since I've been fired to really break down what happened to me and why it happened. It's important for me to try to get to the logic of that. And I think I'm doing pretty good with my theory, but it's a matter of all the evidence is there. Like Brother Mukul likes to talk about the evidence, the evidence is clear and cut how they see Black people in law enforcement. They're not confused with how they see us. They say, oh, we want you to join, but when you join, this is the expectation. You have to support white supremacy. Black people in law enforcement, and that's the issue that I think a lot of people, because they say we're going to treat you, you're equal, and all of this BS and emotional rhetoric to get your heartstrings, thinking you are an American citizen and you have these rights. But in reality, what rights do we have? If Tamir Rice is a 12-year-old child who the courts can't see how his civil rights was violated, like, they are very clear how they treat us. They don't mix words, they don't do anything. But the psychological warfare of what they say versus what they do is what a lot of people have problem with. The police, I'm for abolishing the whole judicial branch of government, not just the police. As far as I'm concerned, the police are the pawns. The judicial branch of government, which is the courts, the prosecutor's office, they are responsible for toting out. They're not charging the police officers. They are not holding them accountable. And when they are charged, they get BS sentences. That's not done by accident. That's done on purpose. So we really have to look at, and what I want people to start seeing is to reimagine the criminal justice system and the judicial branch of government for what it really is. And the problem is it says one thing, but it does another, and people are confused because they're looking at what it said it's supposed to do instead of what it's actually doing. We say, oh, we have these right where freedom of speech, freedom of religion, press, the First Amendment, search and seizure. We see the cops doing all kinds of stuff. We see them violating Black people on a consistent basis. And then we talk about, oh, well, we have these rights. If we have them, why don't they know it? Why don't the police know that we have these rights? Why don't the courts know that we have these rights? Because they know we don't have them. But we're under this illusion that these courts are protecting us. So that's my theory about why I was treated the way I was treated, because in the perfect world, I would have never, what happened to me would have never happened because it was rules and laws in place. Like I do interviews all the time and people say, well, do you want new laws on the book? Absolutely not. We don't need no more laws. We got laws on the book right now and you still did it to me. So what's more laws going to do? That's just I call it money laundering. That's just the money laundering piece for them to try to cover up what they're doing to us. We don't need new laws on the books at all if y'all can't even enforce the ones on the books. So, I don't know. I may be a little on the crazy side.
So I understand what you're saying. Clearly understand what you're saying. So what is it? I don't know how much you could talk about the case, but what is the charge or what are you suing, or what are you doing specifically?
Okay. So this is what happened. So when I first got there, I saw how Black people were treated. I saw that they were not training us. They wasn't, treating us differently. We were held to a different standard. And I filed an EEO complaint. When I filed that EEO complaint with the internal employment education opportunity, equal opportunity division, I was immediately retaliated against. And federal and state law protects you. You have a right, it's on the book. There are laws. You have a right to report any incidents or rumors of incidents of harassment, discrimination, or whatever. Mind you, the courts is responsible for making sure that every other agency, school, anybody are not treated the way they treated me, the way the courts treated me. I was immediately retaliated against. And
What was the retaliation?
I was brought up on false departmental charges. You know how the police pull you over for false charges? And they throw weed on you, say you got weed. I was brought up on false departmental charges. It was a coworker of mine and me having a conversation. Someone overheard that conversation and said that I was cursing. They went to this coworker, and this coworker was a white female who's right now she's 67. This happened in 2014. So she was an adult person in 2014 with adult children. She said, no, Lyreshia didn't cuss. She was brought up on departmental charges for refusing to cooperate with an investigation. This is why I say their mob mentality came into play. And 3 other people provided false statements against me and said that I was cussing.
So you was using profanity in what manner?
I forgot what they said I said. Well, it was 2 charges. That's one of the charges. That charge was dismissed because 2 people said it never happened, but they brought me up on the charges because I filed a complaint against them. So the charge was a BS charges because people curse all the time. As an adult, you have a right to curse. They just wanted to, and this is the system that they use. They target you. If you look at the police and how they come after people or how they use the branch of government, they wanted to silence me. They wanted to discredit my lawful claims of discrimination. So when I go, everything I charged them with, I was after effect brought up on those same exact charges, like clockwork.
You charged them for profanity too?
I charged them the second case because it was two. Remember, I said it was two cases. So the second case, they charged me with violating the discriminatory policy because they said that I said in front of white people that I didn't like white people. Yes, they said that I said that I was bold enough to say in front of white people I didn't like white people, and they had three people to co-sign that statement, and it was a lot of issues with that. Where the person who did the investigation literally went up to the witnesses. Literally, I have audio recording from the courtroom where she said the criminal division manager at the time said, if you don't testify against her, I am going to bring you up on charges like the other young lady. So she said, okay, I'm gonna testify against her. She went around and telling people I didn't say it, but she didn't want to be brought up on. That's witness intimidation. Like I have them code for this. So again, I filed a complaint against them in December of 2023 saying that they discriminated against me. They violated a policy. In July of 2014, well, 2013, in 2014, they come and say I violated the policy that I'm trying to hold them accountable for because they want to discredit my complaints. But they came with two charges. After that happened, it was a Caucasian investigator. She was cursing like a sailor because she always do. She was cursing and threatening, whatever. The same assistant criminal division manager that I wrote up was there and didn't do anything. One of my coworkers wrote her up for violating the policy. The New Jersey judiciary. Now, at this point, it proves my complaint that Caucasian employees are held to a different standard. Black employees are subject to discipline while white people are not, even for the same offenses. The New Jersey judiciary she worked there since 1978. Remember, Asana Shakur, I believe her warrant happened in 1979. The assistant criminal division manager in the entire division at this time wrote Asana Shakur's pre-sentence report. I wrote him up too. I wrote up a lot of people there. They allowed her to resign. And my complaint against her for doing now she got a report saying that she did it. She got people giving statements saying she treated me different, discriminated against me. They let her resign and said my complaint had no merit. That was the first thing. I filed a complaint with the federal EEO and I got a right to sue letter. You have 90 days from the time you get that right to sue letter to file the lawsuit. I couldn't get an attorney to take my case. And there's nothing you could do. So at that time, that lawsuit went bye-bye. But I had it in my mind because I know how white supremacy works. The best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. And I did a lot of research on my case and the law 90 days. If you do something to me, what is this 90-day time period? I should be able to sue you whenever. So I brushed up on it and I said, okay, I wanted to get my 10 years in. Once you get your 10 years, you're vested, you get your pension. At this time, I had like 6 years. I bought 2.5 years from another state, and I was working there from 2012. It's like 2015. So I said, I'm going to just retire on June 21st, 2019. I'm going to put in my retirement. But if they come after me again, I'm going to handle my scandal and I'm going to pursue it. Now, I didn't want them to come after me again. I wanted them to leave me alone. That's not how white supremacy works. In 2016, I have a child with medical issues, and I had FMLA due to my daughter's medical issues. I was out of work a lot. At the time I was out of work, I was the highest assigned probation officer in the division. Remember, I told you I'm supposed to complete 140 cases a year, which is approximately 12 a month. When I had to take off of work for my daughter medical issues, and she's like 5, 6 at the time. And the number one reason why kids miss school, my daughter was hospitalized at 4 months. So I got the FMLA, which protects your job. You cannot be written up on charges if you have this FMLA. So I'm working, I'm taking off of work. I worked on 29 cases, submitted for review, interview defendants. I'm supervising individuals. Mind you, I don't supervise. I reported the criminal division. She was at the time, she was a team leader. Since I filed my lawsuit in 2019, she's now the criminal division manager of the entire county. I reported her for being racist. The assistant division manager brought me up on charges within 90 days. and said I neglected my duty and I am incompetent. The neglect of my duty was an email was sent. The email was sent while I was out for my daughter on the FMLA. I returned to work the next day and responded. That's how I neglected my duty. And I was incompetent because they had 6 cases for me to do and they had to assign them to somebody else because I was out of work. For the month of November in 2017, I worked 14 days and I worked on 29 cases. So they had to give 6 to somebody else. So they wrote me up for being incompetent and neglecting my duty. I had FMLA. That's a violation of federal and state law. And they were continue. Mind you, if you racist to me, whatever you do, I'm gonna hold you accountable for it. I was writing up everybody. I wrote the assistant division manager, criminal. I wrote the prosecutor up in my lawsuit. I wrote the prosecutor, the public defender. Anybody can get it. You're gonna violate my rights. If you're that bold to do it, I'm gonna hold you accountable for it. So they were coming after me, and they knew they couldn't because it's FMLA. So I had already did my research. I know I had the 90 days. I know it had to be done, and we had the hearing, and they suspended me for a week for being out on my approved for using my approved FMLA. That's the basis of my federal lawsuit. I filed my lawsuit with no attorney because no attorney would take my case. The attorneys are appointed by the courts. They are licensed by the courts. They take their training through the courts. These are their coworkers. These are their friends. Who wants to sue the court? Nobody. I don't think nobody's crazy enough to sue an entire bunch of government but me. So,
Okay. So Lyreshia,
yes.
Brother Muko is here, and he raised his hand twice.
Okay,
I
I'm
want to
sorry.
start including the panel right now. So I'm pretty sure they have questions for you. So, Brother Muko, I appreciate you bringing on Lyreshia because he is one of our team members. Brother Muko, you had your hand raised. What was what did you wanted to say, Brother Muko?
Thanks for letting me speak. I really think Lyreshia was going to segue into it, but I'll ask her just for just for the space sake. Lyreshia, can you explain the realization that you came to when you realized that you had to use different tactics to fight the white supremacists that were practicing racism, white supremacy on you at your job?
Well, I see the fact that I'm holding them accountable and I'm going through their channels. I'm going to their EEO. I'm filing the complaint. They're still saying that these people are not guilty when you have evidence to prove that they're not guilty. I went to the federal EEO. And again, I didn't have my attorney the first time. So I knew the second time that I couldn't take the same route. I would get the same results. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again. So when this was happening, I said, I'm going to write my book because I understood how I have to get out what they're doing. And they are able to continually to do it to people because no one knows. When you settle the case, they seal the court. They're the court. Just the way they discriminate against you and they harass you, they have a way of silencing you through the court system. And I knew that I had to, and I was thinking, because I wanted to go postal. I ain't gonna lie. I wanted to go postal. But if I go postal, I have 2 kids I couldn't be here for. So a lot of people was talking to me, and my therapist took me about a couple of years for me to realize that I couldn't unalive them all. And that's the truth. Because and I felt, why can't I? Why can't I? If Nat could do it, I could do it. It was good for the goose, is good for the gander. So after him telling me, no, I have kids, I can't do that. What can I do? You know what I mean? Like, I'm from the streets. Let's be clear, I got this education, but I'm from Brick City, Newark, New Jersey, home of Frank Lucas. Frank, you know what I mean? Like, you just don't get to violate me and I get to stand there and we talk about like, now how I'm gonna get over this. Like, vengeance is mine, says the Lord. But what Medea say? I like them to get God when I want them to get God. So I'm sitting here like, what can I do? Like, you have to think, like, I had to really think, what can I do to hold them accountable? Because again, going postal is not an option. So take that off the table. What else can you do? You could sue them. Okay, cool. When they sealed them documents, then what? Writing a book. Now, I got the idea because my mother was a correction officer and she used to always talking about writing it about what happened to her. So I was like, boom. And I saw the movie Hurricane. Hurricane Reuben Carter is a boxer who was illegally incarcerated for 19 years for a murder that he did not commit in the state of New Jersey. And he wrote a book about it. In the beginning scene, the prison guards were coming into the prison. They wanted to get his book because they wanted to silence him. And he was like, listen, I'm going to take whoever come in here, I'm going to take any of them out. He overstood the assignment that he needed to get his book out because he needed to get his story out. He had 2 trials, found guilty at both trials, but he knew it was another way. So me watching Denzel in this case, a Patterson, New Jersey case, Bergen County case, like this is okay. Ding, ding, ding. That's what I need to do. So I knew that that's another way that I could hold them accountable, and there's nothing they could do about it. They had a court order against me because the way white supremacy works, they want to silence you. I was talking about what happened and how they went after my nephew, but so when this happened in 2016 with the false charges, they went after my mentally ill nephew. In the state of New Jersey, you have to report anybody who have a case involved with the court. Again, I said I'm from the hood, so are my family members, and I had a lot of family members dealing with issues. Even though you have family members dealing with issues, if my aunt get a parking ticket, I would have to report that. Do you know how many the times people get parked? That's all they give you, or just speeding ticket. I have to report every infraction. So I would tell my family, look, don't start nothing, won't be nothing. Don't tell me nothing. If you got an issue dealing with the law, and they would come to me for advice because I'm a legal scholar. I'm my own legal scholar. So when it came to my nephew and my sister, I told her, don't tell me what was going on. He had got locked up and called me, and the police told me what happened. So because I have integrity and my mother and my grandparents and my great-grandparents raised me right, I reported it. When I reported it, the courts said that this case is a conflict and transferred my nephew's juvenile matter to Union County because they did not want his case while he was on probation in the same county where I was a probation officer because they said it was a conflict. But again, you know how I was reporting to everybody and their mama. They said, oh, she not learning her lesson. They transferred my nephew's case back around the same time I reported the girl for being racist. They transferred his case back to Middlesex County, New Jersey, and issued a court order against an employee. So I would be in violation if we're at Thanksgiving and I'm telling my family about my nephew's situation, or say to my family, well, we need to get together and raise money for an attorney. I'm violating a court order. At that point, I knew that they overstepped the line because I am able to have a conversation with my family member regardless of what they're talking about. But I knew they were trying to silence me because they were doing something wrong and they didn't want people to know. When they issued a court order against me, the continued harassment, if I say anything about this case, I could be written up. They assigned me to complete his pre-sentence report after they forced him to sign an illegal plea. When he went to court, it was an emergency change of venue hearing. My sister wrote a letter saying, wait a minute, my sister is suing y'all for being racist. Get my son up out of here ASAP. They had an immediate change of venue hearing. Change of venue, get it out this county, get it to the next county. The public defender who I sued and the prosecutor, well, the public defender told him if he don't sign this plea, he'll get 10 years in prison. That's under duress. My nephew has a mental health issue with the mental capacity of a 13-year-old. He talks to the TV when the TV is off. His mental health is documented since he was 15. At this time, he's 18. So he's a clear pattern of how he hallucinates and things like that, where he cannot make decision on his own. But they were saying, we're going to give you 10 years if you don't sign. But it wasn't supposed to be a plea offered because you're supposed to be getting out the county. And then they assigned me to complete his report. September 11th, 2019. October 11th, 2019, the federal lawsuit was filed. In that lawsuit, I named the prosecutor, the public defender, the hearing officer, the HR manager, trial court administrator. I named everybody and their mama, a good 9 people. And I knew that I couldn't just go through the courts. The courts was very, very important piece, but it wasn't the only piece. So that's why I wrote my book. And I started writing my book then. October 19, it happened. March 19, COVID happened. They were still harassing me when I was home during COVID. Like they were going after my witnesses, trying to bring them up on departmental charges. Again, RICO charges is any of these two charges in a 10-year period. The charges is fraud, and bringing me up on false departmental charges is fraud. Because if you know the charges are false, you're not even supposed to bring me up on them. But when you do bring me up, like when the police lie in the police report, that's fraud. When Derek Chauvin put his knee on George Floyd's neck and then said he had a medical emergency, excuse my French, but due to medical emergency. And these police officers are allowed to complete this fraudulent documentation and nobody's calling them on fraud. You take an oath to uphold and you know you can't do that. Official, that's also official misconduct. Any two of them instances in a 10-year period is RICO. Witness tampering. I have evidence that they went after my witnesses. Money laundering. I believe Black women are brought up on these charges for budgeting purposes, because what I uncovered is that Black women are brought up under false departmental charges because the court wants to save money. And they know if they bring a Black woman up on charges, they're going to get found guilty and get suspended. And then the court, if I make $1,000 a week, that's $1,000 that the court know that they got in their pocket. So if I write up 10 different Black people and only the Black people whenever I want, with whatever charges I want, that's $10,000. And that's what it's 3 Black women in my state lawsuit. It's not just me in my state. In my federal, it's just me. So after they went after my nephew with the court order, I filed my lawsuit. They were on me like white on rice when I wasn't even at work. In 2021, I attended my nephew's hearing. I had a full-fledged panic attack. I had FMLA at this time due to workplace harassment while I was home. Had a panic attack at my nephew's hearing. They fired me because they said I was talking to my sister, answering her questions during the Zoom, when you can literally see me talking to my daughter, like in the camera. My 9-year-old, who, I'm trying not to cry. And they fired me for attending my nephew's hearing. And that is the basis of my state case, wrongful termination. I wanted to charge them with RICO so bad. But wrongful termination and conscientious employee, SEPA, because I'm a whistleblower. And what Brother Muka was going to was, I had the court order. Now, once you fire me, I can say whatever I want to say about whatever I want to say because I'm fired. But again, I know how white supremacy works. So I finally got an attorney at this time. And I went to my attorney and I said, look, you have to file a motion for this court order to be removed. My attorney, and she Black, I love her to death. She said, you don't need a court order. You don't work there no more. When they fired you, the court order was out of place. I said, boo-boo, I know how white supremacy works. I am going to be singing it like Toni Braxton, and they're going to come and say, she Black, she talking it, she's singing it, lock her up. So my attorney was like, okay, I'll do it. Filed the motion with the court. The judge, like basically been saying, you ignorant, the court order is no longer in place, which I don't care. I just needed it on paper because I knew. Middlesex County prosecutor filed a motion to have the court order in place against a regular civilian, even though I no longer work there. He said he does not want me talking about my nephew, and I need to keep all matters confidential. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't want to curse. I don't know. Forget your confidentiality. You're not going to violate my rights and then tell me that I can't talk about what you did. So I make it a point to know that I had a court order and I don't respect your court order. I don't respect you keeping crime. If I keep the crimes confidential, then I'm a co-conspirator to your crimes.
Lyreshia,
So, yes.
Let's get some other people involved.
Yeah, I told you I was a talker.
Okay, Brother Doctor.
Yeah.
Did you have a question?
I agree with everything she says. Everything she says that happens here in California a lot. I've seen it, been part of it, same situation, same kind of scenario. And I tell anyone that's Black is going into law enforcement, the main thing you do is When you get there, like you said, they're not going to train you. You have to go in and learn policy and procedures. You know, I had a supervisor come and tell me just learn policy and procedures. They can never fire you for following policy and procedures. You know, so, but yeah, everything she said is true. It's the same thing out here in California. Exact same thing.
Okay, thanks for that. Professor Rob.
Bang gang, everyone. Good. Appreciate what you said, if I understand correctly, Lyreshia. And I want to say, bang gang to everybody on the line. How long have you been fighting this case?
Since October of administratively, before I filed the lawsuit, 2017, November of 2017.
Okay.
I filed the lawsuit October of 2019. I filed my state lawsuit in August of 2021.
But before you got to the lawsuit, you was battling with them with regard
Since 2012.
Yeah. So it goes back to that, right? When did they terminate you?
I was illegally suspended February of 2021. I was officially fired August of 2021. August of 2022, I had my book out.
But were you still working?
No, they illegally suspended me.
Suspended you indefinitely?
Yeah, until we had the hearing, did the investigation, and then I was fired August of 2021. My lawsuit was actually filed before I was fired.
So when they suspended you, were you still getting paid?
No, they violated my rights. They refused to give me a laudermill hearing. I could have took that to the Supreme Court, but the Supreme Court was Trump's court. So
even when they suspended you, they stopped paying you.
yes, I'm broke.
Were you a part of the union or anything?
Yes.
And what did they do?
That's what they said. Oh well. They testified truthfully at my hearing to the fact that it was a violation of their policies and procedures, but that's all they did.
So that's in the transcript?
Yes.
Okay.
It's video. I have a documentary on my case. I try to document and bring everything to the public because I know how they like to seal stuff.
So what are you suing for? Before you get to that, how many lawsuits you got going?
Right now, 2.
Okay, federal and state or what?
Yes, federal and state.
Okay, and they both over the same issue.
One is for discrimination in the workplace, and one is for illegal termination.
Okay, do you have attorneys for each lawsuit, or are you doing them yourself?
I have an attorney.
He's doing both? They're doing both?
Is. Yes,
she's doing both.
Yes.
What is she telling you?
What do you mean?
Is she saying you got a good case?
Oh no, I have an excellent case.
I'm not asking what the attorney said.
She says I have an excellent case. She's in my state case is 3 individuals who also are in the case. One individual worked since 1995, and they will bring her up on false departmental charges every year for their budget and commit fraud and money laundering. So our case is excellent. They've been trying to silence us ever since. We had the discovery phase, and since 2023, the judge ordered them to answer questions November 2023.
So what are you suing them for?
Like, what do I want as a...
yeah, I mean, you're suing the state and the feds. So what are you suing the state and what you want them to do? And what are you suing the feds for? I mean, you're asking for back pay, this, that, or and compensation for harassment and all those things. So what is the figures?
Oh, I said 50 million.
Okay.
My soul cannot for sale. I said 50 million.
And what about the attorney? Did he put that in the briefs?
Yeah, she had to put what I said. She told me I ain't gonna get it, but I asked for it.
Okay.
Ask and you shall receive. I ain't gonna ask for less.
Mm-hmm.
I said 50 million, but I want an investigation. They still haven't investigated any of my claims. I have some outlandish claims investigated.
Who hasn't investigated? Who hasn't?
The state.
Okay, the state. But you're suing them, right?
Yes, but they're supposed to investigate to see if there's any truth or any merit to my claims. I could be lying.
Well, yeah, but Well, they're definitely treating you like you're lying. I mean, they're already doing that. My point is, you know, lawsuits. I don't know how New Jersey works. I am familiar with Asada Shakur. I am familiar with the hurricane. Way back when Bob Dylan wrote the song Hurricane, and all of those things that he went through, and got out, and then he got a domestic violence case and went back, and then he got out again. But my point is that, you know, and specifically, you know, your briefs that I'm pretty sure you got copies of the briefs that the attorney is filing. So they haven't given you a court date or said that you have merit to sue yet?
Oh, they've done right now we're in the discovery stage where we had to answer questions and give over documentation. They are refusing to give over the evidence in the case.
Are you going to do what they call
A motion to compel? The judge literally took that out the system.
yeah, I'm talking about when you sit down with a court reporter and question them under oath.
Yes, that's the deposition. That's next.
Yeah,
But they're
deposition.
refusing to give over the evidence, so we can't get to the deposition stage until they give over the evidence and answer they're refusing to answer the questions.
Well, how you gonna make them give up the evidence?
They can either give it to me or pay me. They got options. They ain't gotta give it to me. I'm at the point where it's been since 2019. You could give me the money now, but they are refusing to give the evidence because it proves my case. The case is open and shut. They are refusing to give it. They're trying everything that they can because they don't want to give it. A young lady in this same county, a sheriff officer in Middlesex County, just went to trial in April of 2025 and won $3.8 million at trial, alleging the same things that I alleged in my lawsuit.
Mm-hmm. Well, what I'm asking you is that the court won't make them give up the evidence?
I'm suing the court. You would think that they would. The federal judge has been undermining me every chance she gets. She just administratively dismissed my case yesterday. And the state judge, I'm going to give him credit. He has been holding them accountable, telling them that they have to turn over the evidence and answer the questions. They filed their motion in May saying that they didn't know which questions were which, and they want me to have a protective order because I'm harassing them.
Well, I wish you all the luck in the world and for your continued struggle. And you know, throughout history, the court system has been, from the exception, has been crooked. For the most part, you know, they have sprinklings of things that make you think it's right, but for the most part, we can go back. But all your cases, I mean, you're suing. How many plaintiffs you got? I mean, that you are filing again in your lawsuit?
In my state case, it's 3 of us. It's 3 of us
Okay.
in my state case. In my federal case, I'm by myself.
Okay, but I mean, how many people are you suing? Or are you just suing the institution?
No. At first in my federal case, it was 9. In my state case, I think it was another 9 because those 2 individuals were suing other individuals too. But they dismissed that and said we had to sue the courts. We couldn't sue individuals because the way they try to get out of suing, you got a tort claim notice, you didn't file it, you can't sue individual people. So because I can't, I just sing it like Tony Braxton. Like I just tell everybody what they did in their titles because as a public employee, you can't just do whatever you want to do. So they get out of it. I can't sue them personally. So I just make sure I tell everybody how corrupt they are. Like the criminal division manager right now is being sued in federal and state court for being a racist, and she's in charge of all the cases in Middlesex County.
So, like, what did you go out on workman comp or what?
I did have a 6-week stress leave due to workplace harassment. And I also had I'm gonna get on my phone. I also had FMLA due to workplace harassment the last 19 months that I worked there.
Are you still on workman comp or what?
No, I'm struggling.
I heard that.
My struggle is real.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
struggle every day.
All right, Rashidi.
All
Thank
right.
you. Thank you.
Okay, well, let me get to Brother Ahi. Brother Ahi.
It's interesting, but we've all heard the story before. It is institutionalized. Thank you, sister, for coming and sharing that story. I wish you all the best, and I'm gonna let somebody else ask a question.
Okay. Bernadette Moody, do you have a question or comment?
That's my cousin.
You want to unmute? Okay.
That's my cousin, y'all.
Okay. Well, we'll go to Ernest McBride.
Is your book out now?
Yes, it's out. It's not available for purchase right now. But you can check out. I do a lot of interviews and I do a lot of my website is lyreshiaspeaks.com. So you can find my story there. It's unavailable to be purchased right now, but it'll be available for purchase very soon.
Okay. Well, good luck on your lawsuits.
Thank you.
All right. Ronette, do you have a question or comment? Okay.
That's my daughter friend. That's my girlfriend.
Okay. Joan, question or comment?
That's my neighbor.
Okay. Keisha B, do you have a question or comment?
That's my college classmate.
I mean, I've talked to Lyreshia before regarding this, but I guess have you made any progress is my question since this started, or you're still getting in the runaround from what I'm hearing?
The runaround, the runaround, I mean, it's proven my theory correct. But they are trying to, I don't even know what they're trying to do. They said I was harassing them, and that really brought joy to my heart. Because they harassed me for 9 years, but they are trying to say that I'm harassing them, that we had to give a list of people to dispose, and I gave a list of 62 people, and they said that I'm harassing the courts. And I said, no, if you did, you should be able to stand 10 toes deep of what you did. I want to talk to the head judge who was in charge of the entire judiciary, the sheriff officers, the prosecutors, the public defender. Because again, I can't sue you, but baby, we can have a conversation. And they are saying that I'm harassing them because of that conversation. So no progress at all. They
Okay.
just filed a motion yesterday.
Okay. Well, Brother Muko. Brother Muko. Brother Muko, you there? You have to unmute. Okay. Now, Lyreshia, you're on here twice.
Yes, my computer died. So the charger is not working. So I can't even.
Okay. Well, you had your backup. Okay. I don't know, Brother Muko, I don't know what he has going on, but when was the last time you talked to your lawyer? And did your lawyer tell you that you have anything coming up or anything that's current? Any type of movement? There's no movement?
Yes, I spoke to my attorney last night and early this morning. The federal judge administratively dismissed my case, and we have to do something by June the 13th. And if the state is willing to file a motion against that, they have to file about the 20th, because my state case and my federal cases are at two different stages. In my federal case, which I filed first, we asked to extend the discovery because of personal issues dealing with my attorney. And they wanted to depose me in July of 2025. my attorney is on vacation August of 2025. I can't do it July. My attorney wanted to depose other people and then depose me in September. They said that they wanted to depose me first and they don't care about her medical issues. And my attorney had a heart attack. So let's be clear, like she's dealing with some serious issues that her medical doctor told her she has to eliminate stress by any means necessary, and the court is like they don't care. But the key to this whole thing of them wanting to depose me, they still haven't answered questions and they still haven't given over evidence. So if you really wanted to depose me and you really wanted to have a conversation, you would make sure when you depose me all the evidence is laid out. We agreed for one deposition for both cases because I had two. Why have me sit twice? So they know that I can use the information that they give me in my federal case and my state case. The state judge ruled against me and said that the state said we don't have the evidence. We're not answering those questions. The federal judge said that's okay. They tried that same number with the state judge. And again, I'm going to give Judge Ballard credit. Judge Ballard said you have to answer those questions. So when they answer them in my state case, I could just use their evidence for my federal case. So they're trying to hurry up depositions in my federal case before they give over the answers in my state case and before they get all the releases, before everything is happened, because they know if I get that evidence, they know what it is if the evidence gets out. So they're trying to pull the wool and continue with their shenanigans. And the judge administratively dismissed it. It does not mean the case is dismissed. It just means nothing can be done on it. And it's basically at a standstill, which she didn't have to do, but she wanted to do it.
Okay, well, Brother Muko was trying to get in, but his mute button is not working. So told him to put the question in the chat. Oh, here it is. He said, Brother Muko said, words are very important. Should this be called workplace racism?
Absolutely. I'm trying to come up with my own theory of what happened to me because I believe in addition to it's the law enforcement and how Black people are treated in the law enforcement community, you are expected to support white supremacy. It also goes to how Black women are treated in the workplace. Think about it in little terms. As a Black woman, I was literally written up for taking off of work to care for my sick child. That's what it all boils down to. As a Black woman who had FMLA, their rule, their policy, I filled out the form, the doctor filled out the form. I'm supposed to take off of work. You can't do anything in response. They didn't care about their rule, their policy. I was still brought up under charges. So it has to do with how Black women are treated in the workplace. Motherhood, what does that look like? If you have a child who's in the hospital, at the end of the day, I can get another job. I can't get another daughter. So my child is my priority. And they thought.
Can you hear me now? I'm sorry, Lyreshia.
Oh no, it's okay.
Oh, you just.
Yeah, I was asking, like according to the evidence and everything that you displayed, and this is, just a suggestion. You know how I'm always harping on words being important. Um, it really is workplace racism that that was done to you, not workplace harassment. When we think of harassment, we think of like, it is words are very important. Harassment, I think workplace racism, because this is done to you by way, these harms are brought to you by way of race classification. The evidence is because it's not happening to the uh, colleagues on your job that are classified as white, but it is happening to you and your colleagues that are classified as Black. So this is clearly workplace racism. I think you would get a little bit further or might get a little bit closer to your goal. I think that is a more precise description of what's happening to you. What do you say?
It is titled workplace harassment. It's, what did you say the other title was? Because it is workplace harassment. It's racism as well, but it's a lot of, I fit a lot of the categories. It's all of those things tied in because in addition to harassing me with the FMLA, that's a specific thing. That's the workplace harassment, but it's also racism, it's also workplace racism and institutional racism, because the institution, like when people say they're good cops and bad cops, it's BS. It's the system that is the issue, not the individual person. So the system is white supremacy racism. So the system was allowed me to be brought up on departmental charges for charges that I'm not guilty of. The system was allowed for me to be suspended without pay for a week because the system allowed all those things to happen. So it's systematic racism in a nutshell. And my book totes it out because, again, they tell you that if you are discriminated against or if you're facing workplace harassment, this is how you address it. You file the complaint. Once you file the complaint, an investigation is conducted, and you can't be retaliated against because of your complaint. And that's exactly what happened to me. So if you can't retaliate against me, why do you have people so willingly to do it? Every time I filed the EEO internal complaint, I was brought up on undocumented charges. I was brought up consistently. I was fired after I filed my lawsuit. Like, it's the playbook of institutional rape. It's the playbook. And they didn't have a problem with doing it because it was the system that protected them. So when I'm fighting, okay, I have a lawsuit against these individual people, my fight is not with those individual people. And I mean, I'm calling out names and job titles and all that, but my fight is with the system that allowed them to get away with it. The system that silenced you when you go to court and seals all the court documents. There's no way that you can say as a Black person, you can't be treated like this. And then I'm a Black person. I was allowed to be treated like this. And then you're telling me that, oh, you give me a check and I have to be silent about it. So it's the system that I'm after. But the white racists in the system know that they can get away with treating a Black person the way they treated me because the system allows them to do that. So it
Okay,
is.
but Miss Lyreshia, can I ask you a question? The
Yes, sir.
system that you keep repeating, is that a machine or is it people?
It's people. It's people. It's
Okay,
machine.
that's the point I'm making. That's the point I'm making. It's people. It is a system, but I want you. What I guess what I'm trying to uh help help you understand is the system that you're talking about and the individuals that make this system up. The system and the individuals are not two different entities. Okay, the system and clearly the racist part of the race. And the evidence of it is it's not happening to the white individuals, but it's happening to the individuals that are classified as non-white, you and the rest of your colleagues.
Yes
So
and no.
even, huh?
Yes and no.
Okay. Well, for your case and it's happening against you and your colleagues, it is still workplace racism, even if it's a group system of people. We can't separate and talk about a system like it is absent people. So I just a suggestion. I think workplace racism is, of course, is not a one of their terms, because if it were, just like you said, we would be fighting racist white supremacists the way that they set up and designed for us to fight them. But workplace racism is uh so
Come on.
pinpoint. You are harming me because I'm classified as non-white. And this is why you're doing it. I think if a I think if that term was used more by victims of racism, white supremacy,
especially in court cases like your own, I think we would get a lot further, get a lot more constructive results versus because this is very confusing when you're talking about I can't charge the people, but it's the system, but then that gives a person with a logical thought to think that a system is outside of people. And so I think with your case, always, we don't talk as much as we should, or as much as I like for us to, and that's going to change. But I think the language, and you do use a lot of codified language, but I think the problem is we use the racist white supremacist confusionary language to try to explain um, a a situation that is unjust when their system, that word, their system is unjust, and they
It's workplace harassment.
disguise it as just. Go ahead. I'm sorry,
Did you
man.
say it's workplace racism? I'm sorry. I'm just trying to.
Yeah,
You
yep.
know.
Workplace racism instead of workplace harassment.
Okay. And the reason why I said it's the people, it's the system and the people is because regardless of, okay, when I was there for the first 2 or 3 years. I had an assistant criminal division manager, a division manager, and team leaders, and they practiced the workplace racism. And when those people were changed, regardless of the people who were in that position, they still practice it. And the HR manager, the trial court administrator, 2 trial court administrators, I sued 3 trial court administrators. The trial court administrator is the executive for the county. What I'm saying is, the reason why I say it's a system, because regardless of the people who was there, they still was on code to the system of I'm an issue because I reported their workplace racism. I love the
So,
term. I'm going to Google. I'm
so
on my W. So
the,
that's
the,
why I say
the system could be considered uh, the practices
the
by
practice,
people.
procedures, and the culture. Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess I'll say I want to know how your case progresses. Oh, and then, oh, you know what? I did. Keisha B did have some things in the chat. Keisha B, you want to unmute and tell us what you had in the chat, please?
No, I was just looking up the FMLA information for her and saying for the FMLA where they try to violate that, because that's protected. It's retaliation. It's the right verbiage. As I was piggybacking off the young man that was speaking when he says words matter. So I had dropped that in there.
Can you repeat
And
that
then
again,
when she was
please?
talking with regards to when she mentioned them violating her FMLA with her taking off to be with her daughter, I was just giving her the proper terminology for the FMLA violation. And then when she
Oh,
was just talking about the system and the individuals and how it doesn't matter who comes in, who goes out, it's kind of like the same thing with politics, right? When you have everybody colluding together, doesn't matter who comes in new, right?
yeah, still
Because
have
they're
a
all going to
script.
band together
Yeah.
and continue the whole process. Yeah. So
So
that was it.
that's FMLA retaliation. That's what you were
Yes.
saying? Okay.
Yes. That's the violation. Correct.
Oh, okay. Lyreshia,
Yes, I'm here.
this is what I want to do. I want to make sure that our network keeps up with your case, and if you can keep in contact and let us know what's going on, that'd be great. And and we would like to know what type of movement is happening with your case, what
Oh,
your case is. So,
absolutely.
what do you want to leave us with this evening?
I just want everybody to, and I love Brother Muko for this, for understanding the terminology. These are a lot of new, different concepts that people that are going to change because we are under the illusion that this system has been in place and has been working for us. And we have to start calling things what they are. Language is very important. And when we see things happening, we can't say is this, or a lot of it is the mental, the psychological warfare that they pull on you. So just understanding that what they say and what they do are two different things. And we have to start looking at what these institutions are doing to us and call a spade, because they'll say you have these rights, but then when it comes to those rights, they don't enforce it. So that's the nuance of everything that's happened to me. Everything that happened to me is because I was under the illusion that as a Black person, I could get this degree and these $200,000 in student loans, and I can have the American dream and get the job. And they gave me my inward wake-up call.
Yeah, well, I think you're very courageous, and I want to compliment you on not not acting on what you wanted to do, because because you know I don't think that was the right move, but I think you're very courageous, and I'm glad that you chose to litigate instead of going there.
I
So
think it was a good move, but I mean, I get what you're saying.
yeah. Now, before we go, we had somebody that just came, so I want to give them an opportunity to say something. It's Albadi Wimbush. I don't know if that's pronounced the correct way. Albadi.
You could call him DJ.
What's that?
You could call
Yeah,
him
that's
DJ.
a brother of mine, WPI. We call him DJ. He's a resident of Jersey, another real instrumental brother in the system of justice movement, just like Lyreshia. And yeah, so he just came up to the platform to support Lyreshia and, you know, just be part of the conversation.
Okay, so he don't want Brother Wimbush, you don't want to say anything?
Peace to the room, peace to the room. Appreciate everyone. Shout out to the room. Shout out to you, brother. Appreciate you for letting me come up on the mic, and shout out to my Bimo Codify fam and my All Law fam right there. Brick City in the building. Support the sister right there. And I'm pretty sure she said all the good stuff you wanted to hear, so I ain't gonna chime in on it. Shout out to everyone. Enjoy the night.
Appreciate you coming, brother. Come back. All right, good folks. Lyreshia, I appreciate you standing up and standing out. And we got your back. We got your back, sister. Stay up and call on us when you want to, and visit and be a part of what we're doing.
Can I say just one thing though?
Go ahead, brother.
Over here in New Jersey, we got our governor elections going on. So we are going to be picking a candidate to represent the Democrat and the Republican side. So make sure you go write Lyreshia Bond's name in the writing section. She's our best chance for governor. She just don't understand it. But good night.
Okay, so you running for office, Lyreshia?
Yes, I was running. I'm still I'm a write-in candidate for it. I do believe I'm the best person for the job. The hacks that we got, Raj Baraka getting arrested, fighting for other people, but not for Black Americans in the city, selling them out. I do think I'm the best person for the job.
Well, keep us informed so we could, you can come on here and talk about the issues and what you willing to put in place over there in Jersey.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So,
I'm going to be coming to California soon.
Appreciate you. Thanks for being a guest this evening, and stay connected. Professor Rod, can you tell us what you're going to be talking about next Tuesday?
Again, Lyreshia, we want to wish you well, and I believe that you will be victorious. It's a long, protracted fight. It's not a type of a fight that you win overnight, but we appreciate your struggle and your example of Black womanism at its best. We'll be talking about the current issues that we face as Black people under this present administration, and what we need to do to prepare for the onslaught of issues that we're going to be facing under this present administration. So we'll be dealing with the policies and the processes, as Lyreshia's talking about, that directly hinders us from continuing our struggle for mental, physical, and spiritual liberation. And plus, we're going to talk about Malcolm a little bit because we didn't get a chance to talk about it in May on his birthday. You know, his ethics, his philosophy, and why he's relevant today. That's what we're going to talk about.
Okay, appreciate that, Professor Ra. Okay, next week on Wednesday, we have Dr. Inky's coming back. He'll be coming back for probably like the 5th or 6th time. And the topic is bioelectricity and cancer. So that's next Wednesday. And then we're here every week, Tuesday and Wednesday. And the topics is on the website, how everybody got in. So you're always welcome to join us. All right. So we're going to say each one teach one in Conscious Corner. Everybody continue to have a wonderful day.